Hey everyone, it's Justine and welcome to a card tutorial featuring the gold embossing technique. I'm doing this in collaboration with the Tons Anniversary blog hop, so I've created 2 cards and 2 videos today, so be sure to check out the blog hop that I have listed below in the description because there's a chance to win $75, $50, and $25 gift certificates from the Ton if you leave a comment on the blogs, and we're going to get started. So the Ton Anniversary release, it has a bunch of new stamps. This is one of them that has a bunch of super uplifting stamp sentiments that are really rare, in my opinion, to find in the industry. Stuff that are really bold sentiments and have those really empowering and encouraging sayings. And I really love this stamp set, so I'm going to use it actually in both videos today, as well as the cling stamp that I'm going to be using today too, which is called Poppy Garden, and it is really beautiful and detailed and very deeply etched to create a really great background. So I am putting a piece of black cardstock, which is going to be my card base, and I'm putting down the cling stamp there on my Misty, and I'm just making sure that it is stuck on there nicely. I'm going to be adding some Versamark ink to my cling stamp, and just to make sure that I am going over it many times, so that because it's the first time I'm stamping this stamp, and it has quite a few solid areas which tend to not pick up the ink as well as when they're just really thin lines. So you got to make sure you go over it a bit and apply some pressure on the Misty while you're stamping. Then I'm going to add some gold embossing powder. I just scored my card base there to make sure I know where the line is so that I could get rid of some of that embossing powder that came up above the line. And I'm just going to grab my heat tool and slowly heat emboss the area, and you can see how absolutely gorgeous that looks when it's heat embossed in gold and all the details that are in there with some leaves and flowers and butterflies and things. I'm going to set that off to the side there, and I'm going to be using my sentiment stamp that I was talking about earlier in order to stamp onto or add my sentiment to the card. So because it's a clear stamp, I needed to add the black foam to my Misty. And then I'm going to grab a piece of white scrap paper and stamp this sentiment on there. And I'm going to stamp it in some black ink. The black ink is going to stand out really nicely on the white background, and with the gold embossing on the back, it's going to look great. It says, "You are brave, fearless, bold, and strong." And I think that's a really great sentiment to add for empowering others and empowering, my girlfriends and things like that. I think it would be really cool to send a friend something like this when they're going through a hard time. Things like that. It's just really special sentiment. In order to make the sentiment pop out more and not get lost on that really pretty background, I am going to be mounting it on top of a black piece of cardstock and some gold adhesive back cardstock, which is also available at the Ton shop. And it's really, really great. I ordered the gold and silver, and I've used them many, many times, and I'm still not out of it yet. I just like to use little elements here and there, and because it's adhesive backed, it's so great and easy to use. And then I'm just going to add that sentiment there in the middle and add some 3D foam tape to the back of that, and I am pretty much finished the outside of my card at that point. So there goes some 3M 3D tape, and then adding that to my card. So it looks really great at this point, but I wanted to add some of the finishing touches. And as I mentioned, I'm going to try to show more about the inside of the card that I'm creating. Not for every card, but I am going to do it on this one. And so I'm adding another sentiment from the same stamp set. I'm going to be stamping that there in the middle of my stamp. And because I have a black background, I'm going to need to stamp this on some white paper and attach it to the front. Now I'll just zoom in here so you can see the inside of the card. It says, "You're allowed to scream, you're allowed to cry, but don't give up." And I think that's such a great and empowering sentiment that is really just true to so many situations. So I'm going to just attach that into the inside of my card. You could also add some other little embellishments if you want on the inside. You could stamp a bit of the cling stamp there on the bottom if you'd like. It's completely up to you what you do with the inside of the card. And then for the envelope, so that it really coordinates with my card itself, I'm just going to add some 3M masking tape there to my envelope. And I'm going to add my envelope here onto my Misty. And then I'm going to stamp just the back panel. And I'm going to stamp it multiple times just because, as I mentioned, solid stamps don't stamp the greatest all the time, especially when they're brand new. So I just am able to go over it over and over again and get that shade of black that I like. So once I remove the masking tape, as you can see here, it's just going to attach the back of my envelope, and that's going to match the gold embossing on the front of my cards, so that's super, super fun. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to check out the blog hop for the ton and check out their brand new release. It's super exciting. And you can subscribe to my channel here if you're new. You can check out my blog, or you can check out a couple of more videos. Thanks so much for watching, everyone.